Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about slow stitching. What is slow stitching to me and how I did that and what am I going to do with them? Um, I I I am the person who doesn't really care about definitions because if you stuck with the definitions, then you probably can't do anything. You have to strictly, apply particular methods and do particular ways, and it just limit your mind. To me, slow stitching is really simple. Is something that you sew with your hands and you use whatever material that you have. Basically, to me, slow stitching is playing with scraps and other material like beads, stitches, and sequins and other stuff like lace, trims is additional. Slow because you do it by hand. If you do it by machines, you can't slow down. I find that my mindset change if I do things with machines. Well, if when you put things under the machines, you really want it to be done straight and quick. And if you do it by hand, you can't be that quick. Regardless, how good your hand sewing is, you have to slow down. And the slowing downs can help you to get out your mind or relax a little bit, and that's the importance of slow stitching. It helps you to slow down, and just be at the present. So the definition of how you do slow stitching is not really matters, as long as you do it by hand and you don't hurry up and you enjoy the process. So yeah, I have done a lot of hand sewing clothes, hand sewing bags, everything. And I recently more focus on slow stitching because it helped me to break some of my insecures. For example, like working on raw edges, etc. I'm going to show you some example of how I do slow stitchings. This is the reason one. Slow stitching on some scratch batting. This can be, if like you make it like that, it can be a pouch, or you can make like a fibered book or a book cover. So at this stage, when you do slow stitchings, less planning is much better, because planning, it will just take a lot of your fun away, because your plans may change. For example, this one, when I put the scratch down, I want to just do straight stitches along this strap. But after I doing that, I thought, oh, it will be interesting to add like a semi circle or half circle. Let's see. And it comes up like that. So it's not planned. And this one as well, when I put things down bit by bit, this is not planned, this is not planned, and of course this is not planned. And I think of like doing straight stitches, and at the end I do the couching, and this is not, the direction of the couching is not planned. So that's the fun it is. It may not be perfect, but it's fun, I also make a square. I have cut a lot of square. I'm going to show you the square that I cut, then you'll understand why I work on that. So I have this squares, very square that I cut the same size. I think I was going to do some patchwork bags, but I abandoned the projects, and I have all these squares. I have given away a lot of my squares, especially smaller one. But you know, cutting these squares take a lot of time. So I don't want to give away all of that. So I start making that into things like patchwork scrunchies and a small pencil case, etc. But recently I want to use these squares to make these low stitching blocks. I basically work on one side with batting, so it has a bit of thickness texture, and the other side I back with just one piece of fabrics, and I attach whatever smaller pieces of slow stitching, so it won't be too bulky, but it have a bit of texture, similar like this one, and also this one. So this one that I do recently can be look at this side, this direction, or this direction. And the other side, I done it a while ago with a bit of raw edges. That's what I'm trying to do, more raw edges. Yeah, so I'm going to, after I build up a stash, I'm going to connect this block and make it as a book like that, but that's for later. To me, this is slow stitching as well. So these landscaping things I make from various of scraps, and this is the edge of the fibers. I love it because it looks like some wavy grass, and I just stitch this piece down with a bit of scraps of felt. It's just craft felt. I have heaps from I was originally do a lot of felt play for my daughter. I even make DIY a huge felt ball, but somehow she doesn't like it. She doesn't really like to play it. And then I make a lot of like a pretend play, like donut, biscuit, that kind of thing. She like it, but she doesn't play a lot. And at the end, it became a toys for the cats. So I thought, what's the point? I haven't used the file for a while. I make yeah, I use them here and there, but not a lot. But I still want to use them up. And after I used all them up, I won't buy them anymore because this is not natural fiber. It can't break down. But it's perfect for making a slow stitching hanging stuff. I put this so you can hang on the wall, or you can put in a journal. Here as well, just random things, small scraps that I stitched down, a raw edge, a bag with a piece of felt. So this is slow stitching to me, landscape or something extra. This is also low stitching to me because this cover, I put all this fabric down on a piece of sheet, and then I make it into a journal cover. So that's another way that you use low stitching to make a journal cover. It's quite nice. I really like it. This to me also slow stitchings, some hanging decoration stuff, especially for Christmas. It's great gift for you know, children's and grown-ups or friends, whatever. You work on a piece of fibers or felt. It's quite soft, squeezy. And you make a lot of stitchings, you add random beads and stuff that in your stash. and here as well. And I also hand braid this, so you have a bit of thickness, but not too thick. So see, I really like it. Chains and beads. Yeah. This to me is slow stitching. Even a simple hearts, pocket hearts is a great slow stitching project. You can do the with stitches or blanket stitches. You can add a lot of decoration. I make a lot of this from the wood blanket scraps that someone passed it to me for free, and I make like a 20-ish something to give away in my daughter's preschool. I also use this to like a random kindness that I put in different places like street library, like a spot field with cover, you know. I don't want the rain to ruin it. So yeah, there's a lot of pockets heart, that also a slow stitching, great slow stitching projects. Small things like that, with beads, edging with beads, like that. You cut from the fiber scrap and just stitching them together. Yeah, these are great slow stitchings. It doesn't take a lot of time, and it's really nice and relaxing. Same things that I use scraps from files, and yeah, piece and that, and working on these leaves are really satisfying because it's really beautiful, and you can use up a lot of file scraps. I really love this. I think I will make some more this year for Christmas. To me, all these little pieces are slow stitching as well. Paper clips, you know. This can be like a slow crochet, but actually I used it in, you know, making clothes and add it to the slow stitching blocks, and you know, decoration things like that. Fiber yo-yo as well. You can make any size. It doesn't take a lot of time. I think each one probably take a few minutes, and it's a great project for when you go traveling for a while. Then you can just bring a small bunch of scraps and cut them in circle. Doesn't need to be accurate, and you make them into all sort of little thing, which later you can use the bigger projects. Yeah. So things like that, small things. You can double size and you can single size. You can use that in later projects. Things like that. I just love this cool small square. Don't ask me why. And I also have this tray with all sort of like pieces that I hand pieced, and then later when I build it to a bigger piece, and I make them into a pouch, a zipper pouch. Some zipper that I save from old clothes, like this one. I saved this from the old clothes. You can see here's a bit of amendment. Some that someone passed to me for free. So I don't really like sewing zipper to clothes. I more like buttons. So I have to start using them up, and this the great project to use your slow stitching, things like that. Very simple. Make some you just make a whole bunch of patchwork stuff. If you think hand sewing take a lot of time, you can use machine. I think this one I make with machines, the patchwork. So you make a whole bunch of them, and you can I bring this to in my holiday when I go traveling to in Australia. That not overseas in Australia, then I always drive with my car so I can bring this tray with me. So at night, you know, after a whole day of walking and hiking, I'm able to sit down in front of the TV or watching my kids to play, and then I add this, you know, straight stitches. It's just plain straight stitches. Sometimes I bring with multicolor, sometimes just one color, doesn't matter. It's really relaxing. See, I have done all this. So after you've done all this, you can make them into a little pouch, and it's a great way to give away. I particularly like them. I save that to as a birthday presents, because all the little girls like them, you know, bright colors, lovely soft colors. Yeah, so like this one, you can see is hand piece is pure linens. So this linen in different colors, I hand piece them, and then when it's building up, when it's growing bigger and bigger, I can make them a pouch. And this is a very special gift. I can tell you, people love this type of pouch, and whenever I give away in my free library or as birthday gift, this is the first thing that gone, you know. Things like that. I haven't worked on this as well. There's few that need to be done, you know, but what's the hurry? Because I like to bring this to in my holiday, so when I'm home, I work on other projects that need more material. So see, this kind of like half done. Yeah, so slow stitching is about taking your space, so you don't need to hurry. You can drop off and pick up any time, and you can do it in any form, and you can make them into things that with practical use, or you can make them into a gift, you can make them into a journal, or you can make them without any practical purpose. Yeah, but I think making them into a fiber book is a really great way, because I'm sure you this is very popular because it's not commonly seen, and the fibers give a lot of texture to the holder, and people love little books. So yeah, so see, this is, you can just stitch the yo-yos on. You can work on fibers, any fiber that you like, and you have leftover patchwork stuff that you have no idea what to do, that is small, but yeah, you don't want it to grow bigger, you know, things like that. You can use up in your slow stitching, yeah, with different different style. This can be to teenagers, to children. Quite, you know, quiet colors can give it to the grown-ups. Yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of things that going on, and if when you do slow stitching, you doesn't need fancy tool. You can just use up your scraps, even the batting, the backing, things like those tails of threads from your previous projects, scraps, random beads. You know, there's a lot of things sitting in your stash abilities, and you can just use them up in your slow stitching projects. So don't get confused with definitions. Don't ask for perfection. Just enjoy the process, make little things, and then build up your stash, and you can make bigger things, and later on you can probably turn them into some of the gift. And yeah, so just remember, to enjoy it, to enjoy the process. And I'm sure you that once you start slow stitching, it's really addictive, because it bring you joy, it bring you the calmness. So after a busy day, your minds would tell you to do a little bit like hand sewing. And as a person with a full-time jobs, so you probably don't know I work 6 days a week. I need to work overtime as well. I also have a 5-year-old daughter. She's really active. So days is quite full on. I usually have just 1 or 2 hours at night to do a bit of crafting. So if you are a busy person like me, you're not retired, you just have very limited time of time, I suggest you start things with size like that, the pawn size like that. Don't be too ambitious to start a bigger projects or more complicated projects, or even, quote. Work on something with smaller size. Work on something that is as small as that. And slowly improve your techniques and speed. And after you have so many things in your stash, you will find it more easy to make them into a bigger things or something else. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye.